This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at thebatmanuniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
This is the last time we'll be meeting.
You don't listen, do you? You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
And finally, in a world where everyone thinks they can do my job, check out this guy.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
You can say that again, pal.
It's so awful, isn't it?
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do. And people are starting to notice.
You think this is funny? Is this a joke to you?
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bat Fans. Yes, we're still here. And yes, we're still here after a brief hiatus of missing our last episode. But that was my fault. I'll take full blame and responsibility for not having an episode out as normally like we do. But here again, my name is Tim. I am your host, and I will be joined as always by Dane. Dane, what's up?
I wish you could meet under better circumstances, Tim.
I think I know where you're going with this, Dane, and I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me offer my apologies right now.
So 2 years in a row, the pitching of the Oakland Athletics have completely failed the team.
And what sucks is they tried it both ways. I mean, last year was with the opener, the bullpen game, and this year they went with a starter, their best starter, right? Manaea?
I don't know what to think about him anymore. He was hurt for most of the season. And I don't know, give it to Mike Fiers. He's been consistent throughout the entire year.
Well, maybe they didn't want to give it to him because of his weird beard shaving style.
Yeah. He shaves like half his beard off.
Yeah, one side full and one side not. It was like that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer gets kicked in the head and he's not thinking right and he shaves one side and leaves the other side full of the hair.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. I mean, I know a lot of people on Twitter, Athletics Twitter, are blaming ownership. They're blaming management. But
what could they have done differently, though? Besides maybe starting Fiers, like you said.
Yeah, well, people are saying that the Oakland A's need more money.
Well, that's a given, but
yeah, yeah, and they're not getting it, and I don't know what different that they could have done, but I think these teams, these Oakland Athletic Moneyball teams are made for the regular season, right?
Mm.
Where you can play 20 games and you don't have to win every single one of them, right?
But yet still maintain playing good, consistent baseball.
Yeah. You don't need the big home runs. You just need a little bit of run support, a little bit of pitching, a little bit of fielding, and you're good. You'll win a game. But when it comes to the postseason, especially the wild card, where you only have one game, or you only have 5 games, or you only have 7 games, right? I don't think it works. I just don't think it works. I don't think the numbers add up. And I don't know. It's 2 years in a row of this, and it's getting really just.
I can imagine frustrating.
It's frustrating, right?
And not to mention, obviously, what they got. I think they didn't. Bob Melvin say in the post-game press conference about how they just got to win the division, but that's easier said than done with the Astros in your division being the best team in baseball, arguably.
Yeah, and there's no way the A's are going to win the division, not this past year, not next year. And I just don't know what they could possibly do without money. I just don't know what they can do besides that. I mean, I wish our problem was like yours, Tim, where it's why didn't Aaron Judge hit 4 home runs instead of 3 home runs? You know?
And you got 2 good players at the same position, and there's not enough room to play them both. So one of us would be regulated to the bench as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I don't know. I think the A's need to win the division somehow.
Somehow, some way,
and at least get 5 games.
Yeah, I know. At least get into a series
instead of just getting the one playoff game. But I as bad as I feel for myself, I feel bad for these other A's fans. And I don't know which broadcast you watched, Tim.
It was
the MLB Network one.
Was it MLB Network airing? It was a TB. I think it was TBS that was airing. No, wait, it was ESPN.
ESPN. Yeah. Oh, so it wasn't on MLB Network.
No.
Okay, well, I don't know if you noticed, but they turned down the audience noise.
Okay.
because of the drums.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't notice that. You're right.
Yeah, they turned on the audience noise, and I don't know. I just feel bad for. As much as I feel bad for myself, I feel bad for like these A's fans that sit in right field with their drums and their chants, and and they got to watch a game where their team scores 1 run. So I don't know. It's frustrating. It's heartbreaking. Same thing with last year. It's just hard to get over.
Yeah. Even though you've seen it many times, it doesn't make it any easier when they get knocked out in that 1-game playoff. I am sorry, Dave.
It's upsetting. It's unfortunate. There's always next year.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what this team's going to look like next year. It's going to look the same? Are they going to get better pitching? Yeah. So
I will say one positive. I think they got all the football field stuff off there for the playoff game with like the chalk lining of the field that's used for the Raider game. So it looked like the baseball field for the playoff game. So that was nice.
Good. Well, it's the last time you're going to see it.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of football, I did watch a football game, Tim.
Oh, wow. Something you could say that I haven't done all year. And
yeah, in a long time, right?
Exactly.
I haven't seen a football game in a long time.
I usually just watch the last quarter of the Super Bowl. That's about it. That's my football watching.
But I watched a football game with the Arizona Cardinals and some other team. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, I can't remember. But if you don't know, Tim, Kyler Murray plays for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you.
When he would he have been a difference maker for Oakland in the one game playoff if he decided to stick with baseball?
I don't know, but he didn't look very. I mean, yeah, this is his rookie year, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it's the difference between football and baseball where they just put in the rookie quarterback immediately.
And I think that's why he chose football. Why spend several years in the minors where he can immediately be in pro ball?
Yeah, but he did not look good.
Really?
Yeah. He looked like he was rushed. Wasn't completing his passes, and he looks really undersized. Like everybody looks bigger than him.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I just decided I'd watch Kyler Murray's football game just to see what could have been.
Well, at least it didn't make you super depressed where he was like doing so great that you wish he would chosen baseball and bring his skills as an athlete to the Oakland A's. But
he looked fast though. That's what I'll say.
That's more positive.
Yeah, but beyond that, I mean, I don't really know football, so I can't really give you a review of him. So
yeah, I probably wouldn't understand most of it because football ain't my thing.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
So, I'm sorry, Dane. Well, now you can root for the Yankees.
I think I'm done with baseball. I'd rather be done with baseball than root for the Yankees.
Oh,
I hope the Yankees. Yeah. No, I hope the Yankees beat the Astros. I don't want to see the Astros back in the World Series. Yeah.
I keep saying this. I'm not scared of facing the Astros. I'm scared of facing Justin Verlander because he again looks dominant. He had his first start yesterday, and he just looked fantastic. And I know all too well what he did with the Yankees in 2017. So here's hoping Tampa could come back and beat the Astros, and the Yankees can finish the job on the Twins. They're up 1-0 right now as we're recording this episode. Game 2 starts in just about an hour and a half, so we have to make sure this episode is done by then, Dane, so I can be stressed out and watch Game 2 live.
Okay, well then all we got to do is say Joker was good, Birds of Prey was good.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, bye.
But no, first off, how could we do an episode without our Dark Knight Rises minute-by-minute commentary?
Right.
It wouldn't be a Bat Fans episode without it. So let's go ahead and get right into that. We are on the 2 hour and 14-minute mark, or the 134-minute and through the 135-minute mark. So, as always...
Wait, Tim, wouldn't that be 144?
No, don't tell me I skill. No, where I'm at, we should be at this exact same spot where we left off on our episode.
Yeah. Okay.
See, this is what happens when we miss our normal recording schedule. We can't remember where.
Yeah, we're all
where the Dark Knight Rises commentary. But yeah, if we went to like the 2 hour and 24-minute mark, we'd be pretty close to the end. So we're not that far in.
I think we'd be in the credits, wouldn't we?
Would we? I don't know. See, I'm tempted to skip over there right now, but I don't want to lose my spot where I have it paused. So it'd take forever just to go back to get exactly at 2:14:0. But go ahead and get your VHS copy, your DVD, your Laserdisc, your Betamax tape, your HD DVD version, your Blockbuster membership video card to go rent it, your Netflix physical media, go to your mailbox, check it, see if you got that red envelope, and if Dark Knight Rises is in there, go ahead and pop it in.
Oh, Tim, yeah, I somehow don't miss those days.
Yeah, neither do I. Which I gotta say, I never really did too much renting the physical media from Netflix.
I used to do it for TV shows.
Okay. Man,
yeah, because the box sets were so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to do it for TV shows.
It's crazy to think how convenient it is now just to stream it all.
Yeah. And it sucked because you would get one disc and it'd only be like 8 episodes, and if it was like a half an hour show,
constantly switching the disc.
You're done in a day. You gotta send it back, and then you gotta wait for the next one.
Oh, they don't even send you the whole series and like multiple.
No.
Oh, really?
Send you
wow.
One. Yeah.
Yeah. That. Wow. Yeah, I can imagine that being very irritating if you're trying to binge a series. Yeah. You said it right. Glad those days are behind us when it comes to Netflix.
Right.
But as always, we can't forget the best. Grab your VHS to DVD converter and enjoy The Dark Knight Rises the way it was meant to be seen.
The only way to watch it.
Yes, especially for the big climactic ending of the film, which we are now fully in. So, are you ready, Dane?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we'll give the countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. As Lucius is running to the reactor there. I always, this interaction between John Blake, well, I don't think it's right here, but as John Blake's trying to give the kids assignments here to, tell everyone as they can to make to the bridges of Gotham, but his old, mentor there was like, keeps questioning him and likes like being the doomsayer about everything in front of the kids, and John Blake has to correct him.
I know. Why would you say that in front of kids?
Yeah. I think that's later on. But now we're back to the good stuff with Bane and Batman and their fight. Again, this shot I remember seeing in the trailer for the first time is Batman on the steps right there, the snow falling down. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see this whole fight. Not as much as, the big event in their first fight between Batman and Bane, but knowing that he was going to come back and face off against Bane again, I couldn't wait. And we're still going to have to wait to see the end of the fight as a minute is up.
Oh, no.
I don't know if you can wait that long, Dane, but
I can't.
Gotta keep spoiler free.
Yeah, I just gotta find out what happens at the end of this movie already, Tim.
I know it's been 7 years, which it in itself just saying that's hard to believe. We're getting close to 10 on the movie, but 7 years you've been spoiler free, Dane, on how this movie's end, right? You got no clue.
Well, at least we're committed to something, right?
Exactly. If anything else, you could say that about our Dark Knight Rises minute-by-minute commentary.
Yeah.
But with that, we can go ahead and get into our main topic for this episode. And what else can it be except our review for Joker? Yes, it is here. Last time we were talking about it, it was just going over the second trailer where the trailer came out and then it had its first screening at the Venice Film Festival, I believe, and just getting great reviews from everyone who was seeing it there.
It won the top prize, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. The Golden Lion?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the buzz surrounding it was really high, and it just made us more excited to see the movie. So, and it's here. We've seen it. But does it live up to the hype? We'll find out right now. But before we get into the specific, spoiler discussion of it, I guess we'll just give our general reactions to how we felt once the movie was over, what we thought about it. So I'll throw it to you first, Dane. What was your first reaction to it after the credits were rolling and the movie was over?
I hated it, Tim.
Oh.
No. It's still sticking with me. And I think that's the main point I kind of want to get across here is that, yeah, I loved it, and it just sticks with you. Like every little thing just sticks with you, and yeah, I was totally amazed. I hate to say it, Tim, but I think this might be the iconic Joker for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about Heath Ledger, but
sure,
I think this might be the definitive version, interpretation of the Joker for me, because it is an interpretation of the Joker. It's not the Joker that Heath Ledger portrayed, or the Joker in the comics, or the Joker that we've seen previously in movies. This is completely separate from that, and I think this is the Tim. I hate saying it, but I think this is the best interpretation we've gotten.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man. If that's how you feel, and if anything, at the very least, that discussion is up there now to have amongst fans about which Joker they like best and what interpretation they felt, because it is that good, like you said. So I think it's just great in itself that we can even have that debate now. Which after seeing The Dark Knight for the first time, we thought, okay, case closed, it's done. Nothing's going to top Heath Ledger. And I'll get into what I think about those two performances later on, because I do have some stuff to say about that, but I'll get into that later once we get to a specific thing. So, but I definitely can understand anyone who would like this version as being their favorite now because of, the portrayal and the story we got with this movie.
Yeah, it's so different, and it's not copying Heath Ledger, like Jared Leto did. It's totally, completely different, and I love what they did with his laugh.
Yeah,
where it's a mental illness thing. It's not he thinks it's funny. It's because he has this thing, which apparently is a real thing.
Yeah, I've heard that. That started being a thing. Because I remember hearing that going into the movie. I forget where, how that it was going to be a medical condition that he had. It just wasn't a maniacal laugh that he developed because he's crazy, but it was a medical condition. And I agree, it worked really well. And for his character arc and for what they wanted to do for him in his transition to the Joker as well.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that was one of the main things that I thought was really interesting, was that they didn't make it like, it's a maniacal laugh, like how you say. It's this medical condition that he gets when he's uncomfortable in a situation. We saw it on that train with the businessman.
You know what, Dane? I mean, I'm just gonna say it right now because we're getting into it. Well, I'm throwing the spoiler warning out right now. Because as we're getting into certain things and stuff I want to jump in and talk about. So I'll just real quick say my initial thoughts after the movie was over, the credits were rolling, was that I loved it. I went into it, I said before how I was going to throw away all my preconceived notions about the Joker and what I know about him. And I think that was a great decision I made to do, because like you said, it is so different, but yet it is something that really does stick with you and was so well done. Performance-wise, story-wise, I think all of it meshed together for giving us something really special with this story of the Joker. And like you said, it sticks with you. I mean, I've been thinking about it yesterday, today, and just couldn't wait to talk about it. That's the other thing that I felt right after the movie was over, is that I got to talk about this movie with someone. So I just texted you pretty much right away, is that, have you seen it yet? Are you going to see it?
Yeah,
and then you said, yes, you did. And you texted me back like while I was sleeping at midnight or something. It's like, you said, wow. And then I think later that day, you said you texted me while the credits were still rolling. So which was awesome.
Yeah. Like I was pretty amazed by this movie. So like, with the credits rolling, people were leaving. I usually like to stick back and let the crowd go first. And I was like, you know what? I gotta text him about this, because this is, oh man, it was, it amazed me, and it was exactly what I needed after Oakland A's loss. To be honest, I kind of didn't even want to go. I mean, I was tired. My girlfriend didn't want to go, so I went by myself. I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean, because I was having a busy week. I had a lot of stuff planned. I was like, I gotta make sure I squeeze in Joker, because I definitely want to see it and make sure we talk about it for our next episode. So I just went straight after work, and thankfully there was a 5:00 showing. I get off at 4:30, so I was able to go straight to the theater and check it out. And like you said, afterwards, I'm so glad I did, because it was quite the experience. So yeah, those are our initial impressions of it and reactions after it was over. So throwing the spoiler warning out there again, we are going to go into specific details about the film and what transpires. So spoiler warning in effect. So going back to what you were saying about that moment in the train, because I think that's an important part of the movie and something I wanted to talk about. So I might as well start with that. So we're talking about how his, laughter is a medical condition, and how I love how it contrasts with, he does it when he's feeling the most uncomfortable or angry, sad or whatnot, but it's, coming out as something that he's doing as funny. And it's just, I think at its most poignant in that scene on the subway where he's seeing those three businessmen, just, harassing that woman on the train, throwing food at her or whatnot. And it just makes him uncomfortable seeing that. And I liked how they didn't try to make him, be the hero type character or the stand-up guy, like to try to tell him, hey, don't do that or leave her alone type thing. He was just feeling uncomfortable in that situation. And then that's what was making him laugh. And then they go over to torment him and just start beating him up and pounding him on the ground. And we saw little moments of that in the trailer. I was wondering how, because we know in the trailer they showcased a lot of him getting punched, beat up, thrown about. It happened a lot in the trailers, and we knew it was going to happen a lot in the movie. And just wondering what causes that to happen. And I think those people viewing him, seeing him laugh like that, and not understanding their reasons why, was a great explanation as to why that type of stuff would happen to him. But that was the one point in the film where, because there's been debate, controversy surrounding the movie about, is it right to show the Joker kind of as a sympathetic character? And I will say I didn't really feel that way throughout most of the film watching, because Arthur Fleck, I mean, they say in the movie he was dealt a bad hand in life, but it's not an excuse to do what he does and transform into the Joker. So I wouldn't say it was like sympathizing with him, but empathizing with him in a few moments. And I think more so in this moment on the subway train, where he can't control his laughter, but yet he's paying the price for it, but getting beat up by these businessmen. And then, it takes the tragic turn where he has that gun that his fellow clown worker gave him and shot both of them. And that was the beginning to it's the start of his transformation into the Joker and his descent into madness there. And because it's one thing for him to do it, just shooting in self-defense after he was getting beat up, but which made you start feeling uncomfortable about it and not showing that he's not right because he goes after that one guy, he just shoots in the leg, and he wouldn't let him just walk away. He went out of his way to, go after him, get off the subway and shoot at him. And that's where you really felt, okay, this guy's really starting to go into the dark side, so to speak, and start his descent into transformation into the Joker. And it's such a powerful scene afterwards, I felt, where he runs away and he goes into that room, I think it was a restroom, and he just starts doing that dance. And he's just, the music's playing. That's another thing we'll get into, is the score, how great that was for the movie. But he just, he just starts dancing all by himself. No one's watching him. We see it in the trailer too. And just the lighting, the way it was shot, it just really captured him descending slowly into the madness that we know he's going to be as the Joker, like kind of his first taste of finding his true self there and knowing how he's going to become the crazy, maniacal, evil Joker. And this is kind of him first accepting that, getting a taste of it, and reveling in it away. That's what makes it, disturbing in areas which they portrayed as far as him accepting that who he is. And that was the first example of him showing that this is how he's going to be, but the potential of how his life should be, or sees himself, his true self in that moment. So it was just really well done of showing how, something that starts off where you're feeling for this guy just get beaten up on the train, but yet it's triggering something even more, and just going to become the person we know he will be in the Joker. But that whole sequence, I felt, was, a very important one of showing just how this character, and just really diving into the mental state of him in his medical condition, his mental state, and then how that experience is going to affect him pretty big later down the line in the movie. So yeah, it was a really well done sequence of showing the start of the Joker being born, I felt.
Yeah, and that was what I was going to ask you, is like, did you feel sorry for him at any point in the movie? Maybe in the beginning when he was getting picked on by those kids.
Yeah. And he even says there, like, you should have like gone after him or do something. He says like they're only kids or something like that, where he didn't want to pursue it any more than what happened to him, or get even with them right then and there. But right.
And I like the fact that is it 1981?
I don't know the exact year, but definitely in the 80s.
Yeah, 1980s. I like how they have a clown talent agency. You can like rent a clown or whatever for your business, or I guess for a party, like a children's party.
Yeah. Hospital visits, as we saw, which didn't go too well.
No, it did not. That's why you don't bring a gun to a hospital.
No, don't bring a gun anywhere,
Yeah,
especially
no.
the children's hospital.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess let's dive in more into Joaquin Phoenix's performance because I mean, this is his movie, and what a great performance on. It's almost like he played two different characters here, really, just as Arthur Fleck being the person, like I said, being dealt a bad hand in life and how he's struggling with that and just trying to make it through, wanting, believing that he was there to, or his reason for living and existing is to make people happy and laugh because that's what his mother always told him. And this, seeing how he tried hard to do that, but and as I just loved how as the movie unfold, bad things happen to him. It just really shows how his descent into the Joker really was kind of a slow build of sequences and tragedies that happened to him, and it all if I could talk, culminated into that one big moment and revelation as far as what really sent him off the deep end. But Joaquin Phoenix did a great job as just portraying that type of character where, like you said, it is a hard thing where you're knowing that he's going to become the Joker and you're seeing this stuff happen to him early on in the beginning where you do feel it sucks that this guy has to go through this type of stuff in his life. But the mannerisms of Joaquin Phoenix, just how he portrayed himself as Arthur Fleck. And like I said, every time he would do that laugh where it just would happen out of nowhere and it felt, it was like an uncomfortable laugh where you knew it wasn't just something where it wasn't done as someone who found something funny. There was something uncomfortable and unnerving about it as well, but it was just great. And then when he becomes the Joker, it's one of these things where it just, a great thing about his portrayal is how, as we see Arthur as someone who's not confident in himself, obviously, has insecurity issues and everything that is, mental issues. And he's like, he walks hunched over. But once he becomes the Joker, you see that confidence in him. Once he has that makeup on, like his posture is better. He's walking with confidence. Like this is how he was meant to be. And I just love the difference of portrayals that Joaquin Phoenix did with that. As far as it's the same character, and it's such a smooth transition from Arthur Fleck to the Joker. But yet he did a great job of showing the differences between pre-Joker and as the Joker. It is so well done, and just the nuances he did throughout the course of the movie, just the way his speech pattern, like I said, those dances that he would do throughout the course of the film as Arthur Fleck without makeup, and then once he becomes the Joker, or the middle part where, like I mentioned, where he's in the bathroom after he killed those 3 people, then when he fully embraces the Joker and he goes on that dancing spree that we see in the trailer, he's on the steps, and it just, the little nuances there that just adds to his character in this version of the Joker are just all so well done throughout the whole movie. And as we were alluding to in the beginning, we thought it'd almost be impossible for someone to reach the levels of Heath Ledger's performance. And for me personally, while I can't say he's at Heath Ledger's level yet, it's just a notch below. And I think the debate's now there, which I never thought would have been possible, of speaking of someone else, of giving a performance as great as Heath Ledger was. But here we are with Joaquin Phoenix performances as the Joker. And we'll get into other certain aspects of his performance as we talk about specific scenes, but just overall as a whole, I mean, we knew from the early buzz we were seeing, just even when he was cast, how knowing what a great actor he is, he was probably going to deliver something special with this performance. And he absolutely did throughout the whole course of the movie as Arthur Fleck. And then once he fully embraces the Joker. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say an Academy Award nomination is going to be in his future, and hopefully even a win, because I think he definitely deserves it. And how awesome would it be to have not 1, but 2 Joker performances win Oscars? I mean, that's just a testament to how great this character is and just how so much you can get from a performance with the Joker. So that would be awesome. And I think it's a strong possibility that he will be getting that Oscar nomination and maybe even a win, but just a fantastic performance all the way around.
Yeah, and I think Joaquin Phoenix really likes these kind of roles where I think he lost weight for this role.
Oh, definitely.
And, he changes his body language and the way he talks. Because this Joker movie reminds me of his previous movie, which is called You Were Never Really Here. He plays this ex-military guy who's now a hitman, and he looks completely different in this Joker movie. And I think he likes these kind of roles. But like you said,
Yeah.
it was the body language sort of thing. And there's there's that one scene, I can't remember exactly where it is, but I remember thinking he's sitting in the clown agency's locker room, and it's a shot from above, and you're looking down at him, and then he's sitting on like a bench, and he doesn't have his shirt on. You see his spine sticking out.
Yeah.
And he looks all skinny and unhealthy and stuff. And then you look at him when he's full on Joker, and it's a completely different character. So, like you said, it's like two different characters. It's from two different movies. But yeah, I can't say enough about Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker or as an actor. Like I said, like his previous movie, You Were Never Really Here, he plays like this ex-military guy, and he has a beard, he's big, he's bulky, and you look at him in this, and he's skinny, and he's gangly, and he looks like he's like something's wrong with him, So, yeah, I can't say enough about Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, and I think his Joker laugh is up there as might be the best out of all the live action Jokers. I think that might be the one area where he surpassed Heath Ledger's. Not that Heath Ledger had a bad Joker laugh, but I felt it was, as up there as like some of the greats. Like Mark Hamill is the best out of all the actors. But to talk about live action, there's something about Heath Ledger's where it was good, but not quite crazy Joker enough for me. And Jack Nicholson, I think I said this before, where he kind of sounded like he had trouble laughing. Where it was like it was hard to breathe when he did it. It was like type of thing. But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix's laughter, like I said, it felt like crazy. It made you feel uncomfortable, but yet someone that it's a medical condition just I think takes it to another level as far as the reasoning behind his laugh. So yeah, just everything about his portrayal was so good.
Yeah, I think what makes it really good is, like you said, when you attach that medical condition thing to it, that there's a reason behind it. It's not just I am crazy, I am a psychopath, sort of thing.
And then at the end, how he kind of changes or embraces how he doesn't view it as a medical condition, but how that's kind of who he is type of thing.
Yeah.
So I forget the exact bit of dialogue there, how he explains it. Just another reason why I want to see it again, just to see more of those details and explanation diving into his character. But it was something where he kind of changes the way he views it, not as a medical condition, but just as something that who he is now.
You're talking about at the end when he's talking to the doctor?
I believe it was when he was talking to his mother before he kills her.
Oh, okay.
If I'm remembering right, yeah.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, the other thing I want to talk about and get into is just the story they came up for this origin of the Joker. Because even when this movie was announced, there was the whole debate about the Joker doesn't need an origin story. He works best when you don't know anything about him. He just shows up like in The Dark Knight. And you're not going to get any argument from me about that because we saw how amazing that type of story for the Joker works. And I probably would agree that if I had to pick and choose between one of the Joker having an origin and just having not a particular origin story or that it's a mystery, I'd probably go with the latter because this, how well it can play for a Batman story against the Joker, as we saw in The Dark Knight. But at the same time, I am in no way opposed to having an origin story for the Joker. Obviously, we got it with The Killing Joke, which was, regarded as the definitive origin for the Joker in the comics. Even that was up to debate as far as it being accurate or not. The classic line from Joker, I'm going to have a pass. I prefer it to be multiple choice. So even that's not truly definitive, but I know in some fans' minds, and for a time I felt it was. And then you throw in Batman 89, Mask of the Phantasm, where we see the Joker was originally a hitman or working for the mob. So there has been origin stories for him that work. And so I was never against that idea. It was just a matter of how well it was going to be done and if is it going to work. And going into it knowing, the first bit of information I got as far as not being sure about if it's going to work is knowing that it's going to be pre-Batman, how Batman is not going to exist here. This is going to be the time where Bruce Wayne is just a kid. Thomas and Martha Wayne are still alive, and we're going to get a Joker decades before Batman is going to be coming to an existence. And will that work? Because you can't have Joker without a Batman. You know, as it's often compared, the two sides of the same coin almost, and they're destined to go against each other, one representing good and the other evil. And
hey, Tim, can I just jump in right here?
Go for it.
Because you mentioned Batman. Later, I think it's when he goes to Wayne Manor and Bruce goes down the bat pole or whatever that is. That's one of my only criticisms of this movie. That was laying it on a little too thick for me.
You know what?
Okay.
To be honest, I didn't think about that. I don't know why. I think it was just because, you know, we're seeing Joker meeting a young Bruce Wayne here, and when is that? That has never happened before. So
yeah.
I didn't necessarily realize that, but then when I saw like a YouTube video about Easter eggs in the Joker, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. How it's the bat pole.
Yeah, it's a little too much, but yeah,
not enough
that's
to
all I wanted to say.
No, so yeah, thinking of introducing the Joker this way, if that wasn't going to work, but that was one of the things going into it where I just got to let go. This is such a different interpretation now. I got to expect the unexpected with this and not go into it wanting things to be comic book accurate or things that I know from the Batman lore to be accurate with this movie. So I just had to leave that aside, and it totally works without Batman being involved with the story. But I will say it made me excited for the potential. I don't think we're going to get this, and because I'm seeing interviews now where Joaquin Phoenix has mentioned how him and Todd Phillips talked about there could do more with this story and with this character, not necessarily going up against Batman, but just doing more stories with this version of the Joker. So you never know. And as this movie is going to prove to be successful, like it looks like it's going to be with its financially, Warner Brothers may want to do more and do a sequel. So you don't know, but it did make me want to see a Batman go up against this Joker, even though, you know, there'd be a huge age gap, and that will definitely feel weird seeing maybe a 50-year-old Joker going up against a 20-something Batman. I don't know. So, but at the same time, those type of stories can work. And it made me think of Batman, The Enemy Within, the second chapter of the Telltale games, where it was established that Riddler was an old-time criminal and villain before Batman showed up, and seeing Batman, because the game takes place early on in Batman's career, and him seeing Batman kind of causes him to come out of retirement and bring up the Riddler persona again to become, you know, someone to take on Batman. And I could totally see that happening with this Joker if they ever decide to throw Batman in the mix, even though he will be old, because the Riddler was older in The Enemy Within, and they could kind of do the same thing with Joker. But I think it could make sense, and especially with what happens in the ending, which we'll save for last, because that's what I really can't wait to talk about. But I think there is a way to do it. But regardless, the story they did was having the Joker in a world without Batman worked really, really well. I think probably as good as it can be, because I just love how they incorporated, you know, even though this movie, I've even said it, how it feels like a comic book movie like no other, and sometimes can probably be described as not even feeling like a comic book movie, but there was just enough comic book stuff and Batman lore in there that made it feel like, you know, which I appreciated too. You got to give something to the comic book fans, because you're adapting a comic book character, so there's got to be elements in this movie that you know from the source material that you're taking from. So the idea that they throw in Thomas Wayne there and how he was involved with Arthur Fleck's backstory and history, I thought was well done, and wasn't sure if it was going to work, because I remember hearing rumors or reading potential spoilers about it, how he might be Thomas Wayne's son in this movie. And I was thinking, I don't know about that. Having him and Bruce potentially be brothers, I'm not sure if they're going to pull it off. And yet I was invested in that story that Arthur Fleck was exploring and trying to discover for himself. Is Thomas Wayne his father? And why did he doesn't see him or acknowledge him or his mother. But here's where I think is brilliant. We don't know if that's the case in the movie. In typical Joker origin story fashion, they leave things open for interpretation, or to quote Joker again from The Killing Joke, multiple choice as far as who to believe and what his true history is. Because I liked how, his mother she's obsessed with Thomas Wayne. She writes him these letters and she views him as their savior. He's a good man. He cares for, the less fortunate people in Gotham, the lower class, and he's going to help us. But yet Arthur Fleck doesn't believe that at all. Thinks, his mother shouldn't even bother. But then when he finds out Thomas Wayne, or in that letter the letter she wants him to mail, he opens it and he finds out that Thomas Wayne and his mother had a relationship, an affair, and that he is his son. So that's, of course, leads to the confrontation with him and Bruce at Wayne Manor, and a younger Alfred too, which they didn't mention him by name, but come on, you have to assume that was Alfred.
Yeah.
But then later on, as you're kind of accepting that's the version they're going to go with this Joker, he's going to be related to Bruce, then they throw in something else where Thomas Wayne, just denies all that. And he tells him, no, you're adopted. Your mother, she's mentally ill. She spent time in Arkham, and you can't believe what she was saying. I was never involved in a relationship with her. So then you're thinking, okay, so he's not related to Bruce and is not Thomas Wayne's son. But yet, I was even thinking this before she said it, but because this Thomas Wayne isn't, I think, the best version of Thomas Wayne as, being a totally good person. You can see he kind of have some, I wouldn't call it a crooked politician because, he was running for mayor, but he wasn't specifically in politics. But there might be a little corruption in him, or someone who would try to cover things up. And Joker's mother said that in one of those flashback sequences where she is in Arkham. And she says, he's just trying to cover up, protect his name, protect his family. But, Arthur is his son. And I kind of felt that to be the case, where even though he was denying it, there's proof, there's adoption papers that, she believes he forged. And I think this version of Thomas Wayne is someone who could do that. So I just love how there is no definitive answer, but yet that idea is out there. And it's just up for the audience to decide which version of Arthur's history that you're going to believe. So that was just one aspect that I thought worked really well for this origin story of the Joker, throwing in the Wayne connection, but yet not being sure if it totally is the case in typical Joker fashion. So I love that little subplot they threw in there for his origin here.
Yeah, I don't like it very much. I think it's a little too close to the Wayne family. Yeah. Why can't he just be a separate thing? How come it has to be so intertwined? And you made reference to the ending of this movie, and yeah, it's another criticism I have of this movie, where it's just a little too close.
Oh boy, that's a big disagreement on that part once we get there.
Yeah, it's a little too close for me. I did like this interpretation of Thomas Wayne though, where he's a less extreme version, I'd say, of the Thomas Wayne from the Telltale games.
Yeah, they didn't go that far.
Yeah, they didn't go that far, but you can tell he has done some things that aren't very pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a little too close for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. And again, that was one of the potential story ideas I wasn't sure was going to work going into it. Yeah. I always kind of forgot about that subplot, because once he read that letter and found out that he could be Thomas Wayne's son, I go, oh yeah, that's right. That was something that was rumored to be a part of this movie. And I think that is something, at least for me anyway, where the big age gap between him and Bruce helps, where even though they potentially could be half brothers, there's such a big age gap where it doesn't probably feel as closely connected as it could have been if they're the same age, and kind of fighting over, the right heir of the Wayne family, some to that degree. But it definitely didn't go into that far into it as far as what it could mean if he was really part of the Wayne family. But I think if they're going to do something that connects the Joker to the Waynes as a potential family member, this was probably as good as it could be done without going too far, but yet still having that connection. So for me, it worked, but I can understand if that is something that was maybe pushing a little too far for having it to be connected. But at the same time, like I said at the beginning of this plot point, talking about it, where I did like that they stepped in a little bit of that Batman history and lore to still have it feel like you're watching something within the Batman universe. So in the end, it worked for me overall. But the other aspect I wanted to get into regarding the story in this version of the origin of the Joker is how it really played into that lower class citizens of Gotham and just how bad, because things were pretty bad in Gotham in this movie. And you have to reference super rats being in Gotham.
And the trash.
Yeah, the trash.
The trash isn't being picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Which apparently is a real thing that happened in New York City. The trash workers went on strike. Yeah. So things aren't well in Gotham. Yeah.
And they really drove home the point of like the lower class being looked over and kind of almost stepped upon by the upper class, and Thomas Wayne kind of being that I guess the poster child, like, so to speak, of that upper class, of someone who says he wants to do what he can as mayor to help the lower class, but doesn't really seem like his main intention. Then it goes into that whole thing of mentioning them as being clowns when he's talking about the murder of those 3 businessmen who worked for Wayne Enterprises, and how that kind of triggers the mob mentality of viewing those killings by the Joker as like a vigilante act and as something that, as a rallying cry, so to speak, as their movement to go up against Thomas Wayne and the upper class citizens of Gotham being tired of being, overlooked and everything just not working out for them. You get medical facilities closing down. I mean, Arthur's place where he went for therapy was shut down. He wouldn't be able to get his medication, and that played a factor in him to really descending into the madness of the Joker. So all these things where the lower class citizens of Gotham were just being affected by for the worse. And the Joker kind of became their vigilante and their hero, so to speak. And I felt that was a very interesting way to go for the legacy of the Joker to begin here, as someone who would be looked on not as a hero, so to speak, to them, but as a vigilante type character for justice for the lower class. So I felt that was an interesting way to go, but I thought worked well for the Joker in building up that reputation we know he would get as, one of Batman's arch nemesis, the greatest criminal villain ever that Gotham is going to see. So it had started early on as, just as an idea, as someone to look at as a vigilante type figure for these lower class citizens of Gotham. So how did that story aspect play out for you, Dane, as far as building up Arthur's descent into the Joker and kind of, I guess, rise of the Joker, so to speak, as someone who becomes the greatest villain Gotham will ever see?
Yeah, you see, I read an interview with Todd Phillips, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember where it's from, like Entertainment Weekly, EW.com or something. Yeah, I can't remember where it's from, but he kind of wanted to leave it up to audience interpretation whether or not this is the Joker that we know and love from, Batman lore. Is this just an interpretation where is this just the first one,
Mm-hmm.
that gives birth to the one that we do know?
Which is something, Gotham tried to do in its second season when they killed off their Joker, which I'm Jerome. There you go. And I was not a fan of that idea. How it played out. So
yeah, so maybe we don't have a 50-year-old Joker, or the age gap is like 30 years between Bruce and Joker, But yeah, I really liked seeing his descent. If that Thomas Wayne thing is not true, that Thomas Wayne is right, and his mother is unstable. If that isn't true, then yeah, I love it. But if it is true that Thomas Wayne is Arthur Fleck's father, then I don't know.
Well, see, that's the beauty of it. You can choose to believe that he's not. That's you can love it. So
I guess so, but it's just the thought that he might be. It's I don't know. But I did like his dissent. That he his mother wasn't his biological mother. He was adopted. Um,
And just seeing how abused
he
he was
was
too.
he was abused. And I think the icing on the cake was that and we haven't really mentioned her, but his neighbor.
Yeah.
What was her name? Sorry, Tim.
I believe her name was Sophia in the movie, but the actress is Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, Zazie Beetz, right?
Deadpool 2, which she was great in.
Yeah, I think that was the icing on the cake where, like, all that stuff that we've seen, all their interactions was all made up.
Yeah.
In Arthur's.
That was a powerful moment, I will say. And again, just typical Joker fashion where things you believe are true, but end up not being true.
Yeah, it's just that was pretty devastating. But yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, so all that stuff. Again, I'm glad you brought up that point with his neighbor. I believe her name was Sophia. But all that time thinking, she's someone who gets Arthur Fleck, his mindset, the way he does things, finds him funny at that stand-up comedy club where he's bombing. Again, I just keep going back to his laugh. The way he just goes up there, he just can't control himself. He's nervous. He's feeling uncomfortable, yet he's laughing, making like, it's something that's a joke to him. It's so good how he portrays that. But then he finally works out of his nervousness and starts telling these jokes that aren't funny. It's still awkward, but yet you see her in the club smiling, encouraging him. And you do hear a few claps and cheers from the audience, and you end up thinking, oh, it went pretty well for him. And then they go out walking. She sees that poster of the killer clown vigilante on there, and she kind of agrees with it, says, oh, I'm glad he killed those businessmen. Like, we're better off without them, agreeing, and that makes them feel good about those killings. But yet, once we get the revelation that it was all in his head, it makes perfect sense, because you think to yourself, man, someone like her would agree with that, or like easily fall for Arthur by, first he stalks her, he follows her for a day, and then she calls him out on it, and she's cool with it. Like, okay. Like, then he asked her, do you want to go out? And she says yes. So it's almost like, man, is she almost as messed up as he is to be okay with someone doing all this stuff? But man, it made total sense when he's sitting in her apartment and she's shocked to see him, and she goes, oh, you're that guy like who lives in the building. And then you get, oh wait, they've never interacted once after that elevator sequence where they first met. And it was like, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen. And that's another thing that's left, in ambiguity, where you don't know what happened to her. You kind of fear the worst, because he just turns around and mimics, shooting himself in the head like she did when they first met in the elevator. And you don't see anything. You just see him walking out of her apartment. You don't hear anything. You do hear ambulances going down the street in his apartment, but you don't know if they're going to his building to try to help her or what. But I don't know, it just left one of those things that just left interpretation to what happened. But it was, pretty shocking when you see it play out like that. But again,
I don't think her. I don't think it was pretty, Tim.
Neither do I, unfortunately. But
unfortunately, yeah.
And there was some, part of the controversy with this movie is seeing the Joker like doing some disturbing evil things that we know the Joker would do. And I will say, I didn't go as far as I think it was a lot of people built it up to be. I would argue that Heath Ledger's Joker did some more vile and terrible things, right. But it was pretty bad, some of the stuff he did in this movie, as you saw Arthur Fleck become the Joker. And I think the one that made me feel the most uncomfortable was like, oh man, don't do it, is when he killed his mother the way he did. Especially after you saw the relationship they had, where he was taking care of her and helping her. But once the idea was in his head of finding out that she, could be lying to him, that she wasn't really his mother, and just falling further down into madness, is having him snap the way he did, and just having to kill her. That was rough to see, and probably the one out of all the brutal stuff he did in the film that made you feel the most uncomfortable. But there were some other ones too, where he killed his other fellow clown employee who kind of ratted him out. Can't say I felt too bad for that guy, because was pretending to be his friend, but he ratted him out, lied about him. But he got killed pretty brutally in that
Yeah.
sequence, which was like, ugh, seeing it happen that way. So, yeah, there is some brutal moments in there, but I will say, I don't want to spend too much time on the controversy surrounding it, but I will say I kind of feel it is a little overblown. And I mean, you have every right not to want to see it and don't think this movie is something that, you want to see or felt you even needed to be out, and to each their own. But I just felt this one's kind of got a little bit blown out of proportion for being something that should be like overly offensive or, going too far with its violence or whatnot. I just think it earned its R rating, and that's it. And with the Joker showing an origin story for someone who is one of the most evil people created in fiction, you're gotta expect to see stuff like that. So I don't think it wasn't more than I was expecting to see. I will say that regarding the violence being overdone or celebrating violence in the way that I think a lot of people feared.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I thought that it was restrained. It didn't go as far as like I had mentally prepared myself for it to go. After all this controversy and people talking about it and all these warnings being put out. I mean, I understand why, and the connections are there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see how somebody could misinterpret what happens in the movie, but yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Not as on the head as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so let's get to the final thing, the whole ending sequence. And boy, this is where the movie just went to another level for me, where it's really cemented that, oh man, this is great. And it all starts, I feel, when he just walks out of his apartment, full-blown Joker costume and makeup, and all leading up to the very end of the movie. And we saw the stuff in the trailer with him, like I said, dancing on the stairs in the subway. I didn't know he was evading 2 police officers once we saw the trailers, but that was him trying to get away from, them connecting him to the subway killings. But once he gets on the talk show, I forget his name. I just know his first name was Murray, played by Robert De Niro, as like the Johnny Carson type late night talk show host.
You can just call him Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Murray Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the IMDb up.
Gotcha. So once he's on the Murray Franklin show, and we got that moment in the trailer where he asked him, like, can you do me one favor? Can you introduce me as Joker? And I was wondering how he's going to get invited on the show, but it turns out, he was made fun of by Murray Franklin, and by seeing video of his stand-up comedy, and that got a great reaction from the audience, and now he wanted to have him live on a show, kind of to poke more fun at him and boost up his ratings, no doubt, if a lot of people like that clip. And so that's how we got invited on the show. And this was Arthur Fleck's dream. He was just obsessed with Murray Franklin. And that was another moment too. You knew this one was the dream sequence or wasn't actually happening, where he was at his show and then Murray Franklin calls him down, tells him he wished he had a son like him, all that stuff. You kind of knew that was all in his head.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But still, it just showed how important Arthur viewed Murray as a comedian, as someone to look up to and inspired to be. So, and once he saw all that, Murray made fun of him and his stand-up comedian. That's another thing just added to, him becoming the Joker, and just throwing that other example of, someone in the upper class bringing down someone in the lower class too. So, of course, once he knew he was going to be on, you knew he had bad intentions going into that interview. And as you saw him practicing what he was going to say, how he's going to enter onto the set, and then how he's going to tell a joke, and he had that gun and what he was going to do, and he made it look like he was going to tell a joke and end up killing himself on TV. But this is one of the things that works so well in the movie, as far as that whole sequence as he's going on the set of the Murray Franklin show. He walks out. I just had this whole uneasy, nervous feeling inside me where I was at the edge of my seat, just wondering, what is the Joker going to do here? It's going to be something bad. A part of me was thinking, is he going to do something like in The Dark Knight Returns, where he kills the entire audience, which would be horrible to see? Is he just going to kill Murray Franklin? Is he going to kill himself? But the longer that sequence went on, the more I just was shaking my leg, just clenching the armrest on the movie theater chair, just wondering what's going to happen. It's going to be something bad, but I don't know what it's going to be. So I just felt the film did a great job of building the tension there of just wondering what was going to happen. What was the Joker going to do in that sequence here? It just played out really great. But I just love the whole interview portion of that sequence too, of Joker coming to terms. Like, that's when he really decided to let go and fully embrace I'm the Joker now, as he announced to everyone there and on live TV how he was behind the 3 killings on the subway train, and how he kind of said it was a relief to say that now and just fully embrace it, and how he enjoyed it, and how it was something how he felt was that needed to be done. And then also driving home that point of the lower class not standing for what's being done to them with the upper class of Gotham. So that's one of those, because there was a lot of poignant points made in that interviews there that Joker was saying and why he was doing what he did. And that's one of the things I want to see again, just to remember everything that was said there, but just how it all led up to the horrible thing that Joker was going to do, was killing Murray Franklin just right there with that gun. And just, again, another sequence where Joaquin Phoenix did a great job. No other sequence shows the difference between Arthur Fleck in the beginning than Joker in that moment, where he just laying it all out, how he feels, what person he is now, embracing himself being the Joker. And I forget the exact line, but he's saying a joke. Of course, like I said before, he was talking about preparing a joke, which was going to lead to him shooting himself. And he was, I think what I took from it anyway, he was contemplating on still doing that. But as they kept talking, he announced how he was behind the killings. It was just changing his way about what he was going to do, and probably not decided to do that and then take it, which led to him killing Murray Franklin. And how he, I forget the exact dialogue, but I know it was something that was made it like his frustration just boiling over, and he just had enough there. And people like Murray, who he used to respect, but yet didn't care one bit about anyone who was kind of beneath them. And Murray represented that, and Joker was going to take it out on him. And that's when he shot him in the head, and which led to the whole riot sequence at the end of the movie, which,
Ethan, before you get to that,
go ahead.
Just say, I thought when he pulled out the gun, I thought it was, and he pulled the trigger. I thought it was going to be the classic Joker gag, where it's just a flag that pops on to be a bang.
Okay,
this is bang on it, or at least that's what I wanted it to be.
That would have been something.
Yeah,
maybe the bang, but then it actually is the gun, like in Return of the Joker.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about that, I'm remembering a little bit of the bit of dialogue he says, where he says before he shoots him, how the punchline of the joke is that you type of people get what you deserve, and that's when he shoots them, and everyone freaks out and runs out. But then he goes up to the camera and then just starts talking before they cut him off, and that's where we get to the riots. And the riots weren't happening because of his appearance on the show. There were people embracing that whole clown persona as a protest to Thomas Wayne and what he said, that they were going to protest, I believe, some type of event in Gotham. I don't remember exactly what it was, but then it just turned into a full-blown riot, and just how it coincided with Joker's reveal and appearance on the Murray Franklin show was just something, that just all came to a boiling point and just really started bringing home how things are never going to be the same in Gotham now. But the Joker has made his appearance. People are kind of embracing that as him as their hero, and just going all out with riots and just, causing chaos in Gotham. But the Joker is known to bring chaos. So here's the big moment where apparently is kind of divisive, I'm finding out, but which is kind of surprising me. But we're getting the whole sequence of these clowns, people in clown gear rioting Gotham. Joker's being taken away in custody. They did arrest him, but then an ambulance crashes into the police car. It's been taken over by these clowns, and they bring the Joker's body out. Of course, he's hurt from the crash, and they bring him out, and they raise him up, put him on a car, bringing their savior, their king, almost like Messiah type figure they're believing anyway, the people who feel this way, and just embracing the Joker as their symbol. And that's where Joaquin Phoenix, like all the accolades and praise he was looking for as Arthur Fleck. Well, I said Joaquin Phoenix, I meant Arthur Fleck. What he was looking for, he's getting now as the Joker, now that he fully embraced who he is. And then you get that moment where he takes the blood on him and he just smears it into that, iconic Joker grin that we know the character has. And there's been debate as far as if that's actually happening or not. And as I'm watching the movie, I'm fully taking it in that, yeah, this is what's happening to Joker. The legend of the Joker is being born here, and as becoming one of the greatest criminals that Gotham's ever going to see. It all started right here, and he became known. But yet, once we see him later on in, I assume it's Arkham, being talked to by one of the doctors or the psychiatrist there, people are wondering, or I've seen some people online wondering, like, how would he get captured again or be brought into Arkham unless all that was just a dream? Like, he got hit by the car or the ambulance, and that was it. You just imagine the whole thing of him being cheered by the other citizens of Gotham who were looking up to him. So that's another thing that's up for debate as far as happening. But for me personally, I kind of accepted it as that is something that did happen, and that's where the Joker truly became known in Gotham City. But the big thing I wanted to get into was how this whole sequence coincided with the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. And I got to be honest, as I was watching this sequence play out, I was thinking to myself, man, things are so crazy. Crime is as awful as it ever has probably been in Gotham up to this point. And Thomas and Martha Wayne are still out there. I wonder, I think it would be kind of cool if somehow this is connected to the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. But you know what? I don't think we're going to get that in this movie. We've had a little bit comic book connections, with the Waynes even being in this movie, but this film on itself has proven of doing something so different, not being tied to the Batman mythos, that I don't think they're going to go that route. But yet, once I saw that theater and it said Zorro on there, I go, oh boy, I think they're going to do it. And then we see Thomas, Martha, and Bruce walk out running from the riots and the mob that's over there. I feel, okay, oh man, they're doing it. Or maybe we're just going to see it, them coming out of the theater, and then you just got to assume what happens next. But nope, they went for it. They show him go in the alley, and we saw one of the people in the clown mask see them, and they know they hate Thomas Wayne. He's the one who dubbed him the clown. So he's public enemy number one in their minds. As he sees them, he just walks by, and he meets them in the alley, and he just goes, I believe he says, he just calls them out, and he goes, time for you to get what you deserve, quoting the Joker for what he said to Murray Franklin there. And he just shoots him. And then we see him shoot Martha Wayne too. And we see always that iconic moment in the Wayne murders of the pearls being ripped off and falling. And Bruce is there to see it all. And you know what? I might be alone in this. I'm finding I'm one of the few who actually like this, but I love how they incorporated that in this movie. And I know the reactions for it is going to be, oh, it didn't really add anything. It was just something to throw in there for the fans of, showing that, hey, this is, a little nice Easter egg to show how Batman is involved with this somehow in a movie that doesn't involve Batman. But here's why I really like it. And I think it works really, really well with this story and what they're doing with the Joker. First off, if you're going to have the Joker be involved in the murder of the Waynes, I think this is a great way to do it where he's not actually involved. It's not, Batman 89 where Joker actually kills Thomas and Martha Wayne. But the idea that Batman's greatest enemy, the Joker, his actions inspired and spawned someone to do what they did. It's still a random person, a random criminal, a random mugger. Hey, that person under the mask could be named Joe Chill still. We don't know. But the fact that this killing was, kind of brought about by the Joker, Batman's greatest enemy, I think there's some nice, I don't know what you want to, thematic element to it that just adds something for this version. I'm not saying it's something that's my favorite, but this version being something so different than anything we've seen with the Joker before, this element of how he was involved with the murder of Thomas Martha Wayne, I think is something that worked really well in this version of the Joker that they created. And who knows if, like I said, we'll ever get a story where this Joker goes up against Batman. But that's something now where I think makes their confrontation more interesting, because Bruce, knowing that this whole Joker riots, I guess maybe it'll be called that, the Joker riots, and obviously he's going to find out about his appearance on the Murray Franklin show, he's going to understand his parents died because of this. Yeah, he's not going to know the exact name of the person who did it, but he knows this connection is going to be tied with the Joker. So if 15, 20 years down the line, an older Joker shows up when Batman comes down, that's going to make for an interesting confrontation, I feel. And that's something I would want to see. So it added that Joker element to the Wayne murders that I felt worked well for this version without him actually being the one to kill Thomas and Martha Wayne. So I felt if you're going to have a Joker connection to the murder of the Waynes, this was a pretty good way to do it, in my opinion. But the second reason where I think it works so well and why I love it so much, this movie, it just showed how disturbing one man's descent into madness can be and how it affected the city as the riots were going on. You felt there was no hope there. And it could be a depressing movie to walk out of. Let's be honest. I've seen some reactions saying, it's obviously not a feel good movie. And for some, you could be left kind of, on a downer. I don't want to say depressed, but if you're going to the movie looking for a good experience and have a good time and feel good afterwards, this isn't that movie. Because, you're seeing the rise of the Joker and the chaos and the evil he's going to bring to Gotham City. But yet, just seeing the horrible tragedy of the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne, and you see Bruce standing there, as Batman fans, non-Batman fans, the story and his origin and know what's going to come because of that act of murder. And to me, that's the hope that's there in this movie. He's going to become Batman. All this chaos you see brought in by the Joker, there's going to be someone that's coming to fight against it and to fight against people like the Joker, and who knows, maybe the Joker himself, like we're saying later down the line. But I just liked how just seeing Bruce standing there, that gave that symbol of hope that Gotham needs and always has to have with Batman there. It's going to be a few years down the line, but I had a smile on my face, and it's because it's such an iconic moment, and you want to call it in fiction, of seeing the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne and what it does for young Bruce and knowing what he becomes as the great hero that he is destined to be after that. So I just love how it gave me that sense of hope that even though this movie's kind of ending on a down note and you're seeing the Joker be celebrated, it's not going to last because Batman is coming and Batman is going to fight against the evil that the Joker represents. And I'm not sure if that was even the intentions of the filmmakers. Maybe they just put it in there as something for the fans to see. But for me, in my viewing of it, that's how I took it. And that's why I think it works so well of having that scene in there, because you want to see someone fight against the evil that Joker that he's representing in this movie. And that's showing there, because that's why we love the stories between Batman and the Joker. You got the greatest villain representing a great evil going up against the greatest hero and representing hope and fighting for all that is good against the evil that the Joker represents. So even though we didn't get a Batman Joker fight in this movie, the fact that they showed that Batman is going to come and exist in this universe, because I was kind of prepared of just thinking Batman won't ever exist in this version. It's a world where there's a Joker but not a Batman. But seeing that Thomas and Martha Wayne got killed here, Batman is coming, because there's not a story or version of Batman where he sees his parents get killed or he doesn't go on the path that we know he takes. So that's the reason why I love that they shot the Thomas and Martha Wayne murders shown in this movie, knowing that everything at Gotham isn't going to fall into madness. It's the Joker is not going to bring absolute chaos. There will be a Batman to come and fight it eventually later down the line. So I love that they put it in there, and I thought it worked really, really well. And there was that moment too at the very end where Joker's talking to the psychiatrist in Arkham, and he's telling her, you wouldn't get the joke. And there's that quick shot showing Bruce standing there over Thomas and Martha Wayne's dead bodies. And I'm not quite sure what they were trying to represent there. This Joker, because obviously he didn't see Thomas and Martha Wayne get murdered, but did he find out Thomas Wayne is dead now? And that's the joke that he's saying she wouldn't get, and how he views, that his father is now dead, and that Bruce, because Arthur obviously probably still feels Thomas Wayne is his father, and now that Bruce is probably going to have a bad life like he did, and that's the joke. but yet not knowing what Bruce is going to become and become his greatest enemy as Batman, or even if Joker's too old to be Joker once Batman shows up, but knowing that he's going to be there to fight against the evil that he represents. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure what to make of that one quick shot of Bruce as Joker is saying that it's a joke the psychiatrist wouldn't get. But regardless, I just love that they included the Wayne murders in there and what it means to me as far as moving forward and how I interpreted that end sequence in the movie. And that's a big reason why I loved it so much. So, Dane, tell me why you didn't like it as much, because I know that's coming.
Just keep it separate. It's pretty simple. Just keep it separate. That's I don't know. I like I said before, I think it's just a little too close for me. It's not something that I felt was needed in this movie. I don't think we even needed to see Bruce. I mean, sure, maybe Thomas Wayne is a background character, but I kind of wish that they just kept it with Arthur / Joker. Yeah, it's just too close for me. I just didn't like it, how everything was connected to the Wayne family. Whereas, you read a comic about the Joker and it's completely separate. It's completely devoid of the Wayne murders. The Wayne murders were just done by just a random guy, which it is in this movie, technically, but it wasn't triggered by the Joker. Just keep it completely separate. That's I don't know why we have to keep on connecting Joker to either the Wayne murders or Bruce Wayne's life. Let's just keep it separate until Bruce becomes Batman, and then Joker shows up, and so on and so forth. Yeah, just keep it separate. It was too close for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I normally agree where I do like it where Joker just shows up because it's so unexpected for Batman. He has no idea.
Yeah.
As brilliantly done in The Dark Knight. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. But I got to say, I wasn't expected to love that bit as much as I did and how it worked with the flow of this movie. So if they're going to do it with the Wayne murders having a Joker connection, I think this is probably as good as it's going to get. So
Yeah, and it's not only that, it's also the fact that I don't think we need to see that, the Wayne murders, in a Joker movie.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see it. I'll say that.
Yeah, we don't really need to see that in a, in what you've promoted as a indie movie done by one of the biggest studios. I just don't think we need to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, like I said, probably our biggest disagreement on the movie over anything. But I kind of, like I said at the beginning before we started talking about this final act, so I think I might be in the minority of that because I've seen a few people have the same opinion that you did. So got to see if anyone else agrees with me. So if you're listening to this, let me know I'm not alone. And if not, if you agree with Dane, I'll gladly hear that too. Just something I wasn't expecting, but glad we got with it. I will say my one disappointment of the movie, it's maybe just even a nitpick really, but how it ended, the last shot of Joker kind of just trying to make his escape out of Arkham. Apparently he killed that psychiatrist he was talking to because we see him walking and there's bloodstains on the floor from his shoes. And he just starts running down the hall to make his escape. Then he gets chased by a guard. Then he runs down the other way being chased by the guard. And you get the That's Life song playing again, the Frank Sinatra song. And I just felt like, I don't know, I think it would have ended perfectly on the shot it did with him, embracing everybody, applauding him as the Joker. Because it really, something like a thematic way to end the movie of showing the rise of the Joker as he's, being at the highest point in his life in his mind there. So, but then you see him in Arkham, and the tone felt weird to me. It's because it felt like more they're going for a comedy beat, I guess, to end it on, because it just felt like him running down the halls back and forth was being played up for a laugh to end it on. But I don't know if you felt that way. I just felt the tone of that final shot seemed a little off to me, and as far as to end the movie on.
In going with the theme of I guess the movie, I I thought it fit,
Hmm.
but I can see how you can have a problem with it, where it's like, wait, why are we listening to this song? But
It
yeah,
made sense in the other times I played it, but just in that final shot, it was mainly just a visual, I think, of him running down the hallway back and forth.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought it fit.
So maybe that's
Just to be like, oh, look how crazy Joker has become now, or Arthur has become now.
mhm.
You
I
know,
guess that might be another thing maybe I'm alone on. My one nitpick on it there. But yeah, so I guess that's our review of Joker. And I know, like I said at the beginning, I was waiting to say as far as the version of Joker is my favorite in live action between this and Heath Ledger. And for me, it is still Heath Ledger's. That performance I still think is the one that's the most transcended. But the reason I love it more, just as a Batman fan, is because it doesn't get better than Batman Joker stories. And as great as this one is, as doing an origin story for the Joker without Batman being in it, it was fantastic. But yet, the Joker Batman stories are still my favorite. And as far as live action is concerned, none are better than The Dark Knight. And Heath Ledger perfectly captured why the Joker is Batman's greatest enemy and the threat he represents to Batman. So his portrayal as being that type of Joker is still my favorite. But again, as we said at the intro, the fact that we can even have this debate now as someone being up there or someone else's performance being up there as great as Heath Ledger's is something I didn't think we'd get this soon. So that in itself is just a testament to Joker and Joaquin Phoenix's performance. So yeah, obviously we really, really liked it. Loved it even. So time to score it, Dane. What would you give Joker out of 5?
because it was kind of close to the Wayne family. And that's my only criticism of this movie. I just don't think they really needed that in this movie. Well, besides that, I loved Joaquin Phoenix. I loved how it was written, shot. Um, yeah, I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5.
Nice. You
or
know what?
Let's just say 4.75 out of 5.
Quarter higher.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Dane? I'm going for it. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Wow, Tim.
A lot of it.
Happy for you.
Yeah. I got to say, it exceeded my expectations because,
Yeah.
like I said at the beginning, I was more excited for it going into it after that second trailer and all the positive reviews and reactions that were coming for it. But it was one of those movies that lived up to those reactions, and seeing it for myself was like, yeah, this is something great that we're seeing here. And maybe I'm alone on this again, but seeing how the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne and the birth of Batman was incorporated into it too, and how brilliantly I thought it was done, that kind of put it over the top for me as well. So we got a little bit of that Batman connection in there, which I didn't think we're going to get at all. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for me. The performance, the story they created for this version of the Joker, and while also throwing in, you know, how there will be a Batman eventually to confront what the Joker represents here. So yeah, all that stuff works so well for me. So yeah, it's definitely up there as one of my favorite movies of the year that I've seen so far. So it's going to be interesting once The Rise of Skywalker comes out. It's the last movie I'm going to see this year, and how my favorite movie rankings for 2019 are going to be, because we got some pretty good ones. But Joker is definitely going to be among there. So yeah, it was great to finally talk about it. I've been dying to talk to you ever since I saw it on Thursday, so I was looking forward to this one. And yeah, it was just fun to get all the stuff we loved about it, and even some of our nitpicks in there. So yeah, glad it, for the most part, delivered for both of us.
Yeah, and I was happy to see something completely different. You know, not like a regular Marvel or DC movie. So something completely different, something that seemed more like an indie film.
Yeah.
Even though it was done, like I said, by WB, Warner Brothers. But it was really refreshing to see something different, that something different can still be done, you know, in this age where we have all these comic book movies, you know. So yeah, that's the final thing I'll say about this. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, go see Joker. And if you know, even if you didn't see it and you hear a spoiler review of it and you know everything that happens, it's still worth seeing for yourself and seeing how everything plays out, and just for the performance of Joaquin Phoenix alone. So yeah, definitely enjoyed Joker and would recommend it. So, but before we end the entire discussion on Joker, we did get one response from one of our Twitter followers, and this is from Ocean Man. Take me by the hand with the Twitter handle at Dr. Girlfriend. And
that's a name, Tim.
Yes.
I have to say that's pretty cool.
Yes, a big Ocean Master fan, because the Twitter picture is of Ocean Master, as well as the Twitter header page, a shot of Ocean Master from the film. So
nice.
Nothing wrong with that, because Ocean Master is a great villain with a great costume design. So good to see him represented here. But Ocean Man, Take Me by the Hand, says, anyone else come out of this movie really uncomfortably aware of their own laugh? Which I got to say is a great question, because as we were talking about with the way Joaquin Phoenix did his Joker laugh and how kind of disturbing and uncomfortable it could be, you kind of want to make sure you don't sound like that.
Yeah, no. Thank you for making me self-conscious of myself, Ocean Man.
So now you got to be careful if you're laughing. If anyone looks at you funny, you might have a strange laugh like that.
Yeah, no.
But Ocean Man says, a good movie, though. Very uncomfortable to watch at times, but hard to look away. As awful as the context was, the very final scene was just delightful. That right there was the Joker. Yes, I would agree. So I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed the movie as much as we did, it seems. And that final sequence, as I talked about, is how memorable it was. And just what a great job it did of portraying what the Joker they were trying to, the story of the Joker, I should say, they were trying to tell there. And that all culminated into that epic final moments there. So yeah, glad you enjoyed it. And thank you for the response too. So hopefully most people are like Ocean Man, Take Me by the Hand here and enjoying the Joker movie as much as we are. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
With that ends our featured topic. And we just got a few news items to talk about here. One of them being that we got our first trailer for Birds of Prey, the next DC movie coming in February. And this one, I got to say, maybe shouldn't be called Birds of Prey because we know it's fully focusing on Harley Quinn, and maybe they should have just called it the Emancipation of Harley Quinn instead of Birds of Prey, because he's full front and center in this trailer. And as a Harley fan, I'm fine with that, because I think they're doing a good job of this trailer anyway, showing the progression of Margot Robbie's version of Harley and what she's doing after Suicide Squad, leaving the Joker. And I want to see that story of Harley be shown in live action. To me, it reminded me of the Batman the Animated Series episode, Harley's Holiday, where she tries to go legit and do what's right in society. And while I don't think she's going to do that, but just showing her move on from the Joker and what she's doing with her life and how she wants to do things, I thought they did a good job of showing that in this trailer. And probably the most important thing, Dane, we're getting the live action debut of the hyenas, Bud and Lou, or at least one of them from the animated series. So I loved how we saw her go into must be some type of black market pet shop. We see her pick out one of the hyenas in a cage and how it's going to be one of her babies, as she so famously calls them. So I like that aspect of it, and just mainly the story that they're deciding to tell here with Harley Quinn. But, we got Black Canary, we got Huntress, we got Cassandra Cain. And so obviously that's the big reason why it's called the Birds of Prey. They're all Black Canary, Huntress in particular are Birds of Prey mainstays. But doesn't seem like that's going to be the main focus of the movie, as far as much as showing Harley's journey and her story, how she mixes up with these characters, but how they're kind of going to be supporting her story, I think, in this movie, which kind of makes me wonder if they should have went full on villain, or maybe have it be Poison Ivy, because we know her and Harley have a great relationship and friendship. Maybe Catwoman, because kind of have that villain theme, more of the Gotham City Sirens instead of Birds of Prey. So we'll see how it plays out, but I couldn't help but think that watching the trailer and just knowing how much it's going to be Harley's story and not the Birds of Prey in there. And the one thing I'm not entirely sold on is just the visual look of it and the costume of the characters. We've seen set photos, a little teases how this isn't going to be your typical Birds of Prey team in their costumes, because none of them are wearing their familiar costumes that we know. So it's more like street type clothes that we're going to see him in. So we'll see how that plays out, but it's not my favorite. And the one thing, it's so little, but it looks like we're going to get a different Cassandra Cain in this one, because we see her talking with Harley in the car at the end of the trailer. She's asking questions, and I was kind of hoping for the more quiet, mute version of Cassandra Cain that we know from the comics and how she's this deadly fighter. And maybe she is still a deadly fighter, but looks like they're going to remove that part where she's mute. Not because I don't want to hear her talk or anything, but I just think it's such an important element of the character and her growth when she does learn to talk and to speak and learn to trust others and, to build friendships when she is able to and when she learns to speak. So it looks like they're removing that from this element, but that was something I was kind of hoping they stick with. But I could maybe see why they don't want to have that, where they want this version of her to interact more with Harley and the others. But we'll see how it plays out. I'm still excited that we're getting Cassandra Cain in live action finally. But then we get Ewan McGregor, it's a Black Mask, and I'm still hoping, and I think we will by the end of the movie, something will happen where he has the Black mask because why else would it be called Black Mask? He did have his trademark white suit though, which was cool to see. But I think Ewan McGregor is going to be great in the role, and it looks like they are going with the more exuberant one, Black Mask, for someone who's likes to make himself known. He's not the guy I said before how I was hoping they do the more held back, darker, like sinister version of Black Mask that we saw in No Man's Land. But this one reminded me a lot of the version of Black Mask we saw in the Under the Red Hood movie. Someone who's probably going to yell and scream a lot. And we would see him being frustrated in shots of the trailer where he just, head over his forehead, just like screaming at certain points, ripping his hair out. Not literally, but it looks like he was doing that. So we're probably going to see this Black Mask yell and be frustrated a lot. But with Ewan McGregor behind the role, I know it's going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to his performance. And like I said, hopefully by the end of the movie, he gets his iconic Black Mask because I want to see Ewan McGregor act as that villain with that great look, because I love the design of Black Mask. So, but overall, I'm excited for the trailer. It's going to be something, or for the movie, it's going to be something different with the Birds of Prey, but it looks like it's going to be a good time. And I'm just excited to see more of Margot Robbie's Harley because she continues to kill it in the role, just in the little bit more footage we got of seeing her as Harley in this trailer. So yeah, should be a fun time once it comes out in February.
Yeah, it looks good. But I don't know. I just have this weird feeling that this is all in Harley's head.
That would be a different take. It would tie in with the Joker movie more so.
Yeah, like Huntress and Black Canary, Montoya, and Cassandra are all in her head, and maybe like the only real person is Ewan McGregor. I just have this weird feeling. I don't know.
Well, you're calling it here first, Dane. So
yeah.
If that is the case, I'll definitely give you props for that because I haven't seen that mentioned anywhere. So that would be a different way to go about it. But
yeah, and it's kind of a letdown that they're just calling it Birds of Prey. I wish they called it Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Well, it did say that in the title once the trailer was over.
Yeah, but like the official title is just Birds of Prey. I wish it was that whole thing.
Well, that doesn't make a good hashtag, Dane. So
yeah, I guess
just gotta keep it to Birds of Prey.
Maybe you can do BOP hashtag BOP ATFE of one OOHQ.
Yeah, that doesn't make it any easier. Yeah. Nice try though.
Yeah.
But also some big comic book news that happened over the last 2 weeks, and this happened on Batman Day. Which happy belated Batman Day to you, Dave.
Thank you.
Which was the day we were supposed to record our last episode, but unfortunately we couldn't. So happy belated Batman Day to everyone. But one of the big announcements was that we got the new creative team for the main Batman title starting next year. And it's going to be James Tynion IV as the writer and Tony Daniel as the artist. So,
did you see his picture, Tim, on that article?
Which of who?
Tony Daniel.
I don't think I did. No.
Yeah, take a quick look at it.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I see the names, but maybe it's just not loading up for me. But
on
the main DC site, right?
Yeah, that thing that you linked.
Yeah, I wonder why I'm not going to get any images.
Yeah. That's okay. Never mind.
Okay. But I got the quotes here. So as James Tynion, or I gotta remember to call him Tynan. So James Tynan says he wants to dig deep into the Bat himself and tell an epic story that pushes him to his absolute limits. I want to tell a Batman story like the kinds I grew up loving, one that embraces the horror and gothic elegance of Gotham and dives deep into Batman's greatest villains. So I am totally fine with James Tynion taking over the Batman title. He obviously proved himself to be a great writer for Batman and his characters with Detective Comics and his run for the first, when Rebirth first launched, and obviously the Batman TMNT series I'm a big fan of. So having him taking over the main Batman title is something I'm excited for. So I'm excited to hear what he has planned more so as far as what his stories are going to involve and what villains are going to be in there. But as far as writers go, definitely can do better or more better than James Tynion right now as far as someone who's nailing most of the Bat books he works on. So I'm excited for it. I will throw a caveat to this announcement, though. Now, this is nothing official, but there are rumors going around that once we make it to Batman 100, it's going to reset again. And here's the part of the rumor that doesn't have me excited, is that we may get Bruce stepping away from the cowl again and have someone else take over. And I believe the person who's rumored is Luke Fox, aka Batwing, right now. And I just got to say, come on, DC, if you can't do this again this soon. I mean, the last decade we've done this. This will be the third time. Obviously, after RIP, Dick took over, which is really cool. Then you had Gordon took over, which was hit or miss, and to do it again so short after that is like, come on, you can't keep going back to this gimmick. And then have Bruce come back to be Batman again, probably when Matt Reeves' Batman film comes out. Like all these things tend to coincide with. So I'm hoping it's just a rumor because it's something I'm not going to be excited about. I don't even know if I'll bother to read if they do this again because it's just we've seen it so many times now, and we don't need to go through this again. So hopefully that just stays a rumor, and because I'm just totally fine with James Tynion doing Batman stories that he wants to tell, with exploring more, with Bruce. And like you said, he wants to push him to his absolute limits and just do that with Bruce as Batman. No need to have these gimmicks to get him out of the cowl and have him come back again, because we've seen it before. Once was enough, and 3 times it's way too much. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but excited about the new creative team regardless.
Well, that's going to happen, right?
Yeah, don't say that. Please
don't. Bruce is going to be gone for like 10 months, and then he's going to come back, right?
Yeah, it's just like, why bother?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Luke Fox will make a good Batman.
Yeah, you never know. Like, it could be good, but just the idea of them wanting to do this again is just what really annoys me.
Yeah. Too many times.
Yeah. So the last bit of thing I want to mention is some more cool Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover news, which is going to air in just 2 months on the CW. The return that I know everyone was hoping for, myself included, but wasn't sure was going to happen, is happening. Tom Welling is back as Clark Kent, along with Erica Durant as Lois Lane in Crisis on Infinite Earths, as the Clark and Lois from Smallville. And the Smallville fan in me, which got super excited about this news. I mean, the Smallville fan in me hasn't shown up in almost 10 years. So the fact that he's returning as, it mentions just Clark Kent, not Superman. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're exploring a version where if he gave up being Superman maybe, and he's just Clark, and Clark and Lois are just living on the Kent farm now. But regardless, I'm just excited that, they decided to have Tom Welling be in this, and Tom Welling agreed. And just how Crisis on Infinite Earths is really becoming a celebration of not just the current DC TV shows, but the history of DC TV shows. Because you got the original Flash, John Wesley Shipp, being back as his version of Barry Allen as the Flash. You got Tom Welling back. I think there's rumors now that Linda Carter might be back, or not.
Oh, really?
Not back in this universe, but just back as Wonder Woman, showing up for the first time in this universe. Burt Ward is going to be in it, representing the 1966 show, even though we don't know who he's playing yet. But I think it would be cool if he's playing Dick Grayson. And they're even bringing back, forget her name, but the actress from the Birds of Prey show, the spinoff from not a spinoff, but from the same creators as Smallville, the failed Birds of Prey TV show, which I was not a fan of, but still cool that they're recognizing it and bringing in the actress who played Huntress to be a part of the crossover. So it's just sounding to be something really big and cool for DC TV fans, and just celebrating the history of it. And again, just really cool that I think they're bringing Tom Welling back as Clark, and then Erica Durance, who, in my opinion, probably is the best live action Lois we've seen, TV or movie. So it's just cool to see them again. We don't know how much they're going to be involved with the story, but there has been shots of them on the Kent farm with the Tyler Hoechlin Superman on the Kent farm. So it looks like they'll be interacting together, but I just hope he interacts with everybody, from Brandon Routh back as Superman, Kevin Conroy as Batman. Just the fact that all these characters and actors are going to be in this thing is going to be amazing. So I'm just getting more and more excited for this crossover. And also, we got our first look at Brendan Routh as the Kingdom Come Superman, and he looks awesome back in the Superman costume, not going to lie. I mean, he made for a good Superman and Clark Kent. I feel a better Clark Kent than Superman, but he wasn't a bad Superman by any means. And but I was never a fan of the Superman Returns costume, and it didn't do him any favors in that costume. So, but this one, seeing the iconic Kingdom Come Superman costume and that logo, it just looks really, really cool. And just seeing Brandon Routh back as Superman again is just going to be so cool. And he still has it. He still has that Superman look. And there's that great shot where it's darkly lit, and it's that iconic Alex Ross cover of Kingdom Come where Superman kind of with his head down, looking very serious. So it's kind of a cool homage to that. And man, I just can't wait to see it with him back as Superman. And there has been a shot released of him in his costume and Tyler Hoechlin in his Superman costume interacting together. So it's going to be really cool. Just a lot of stuff to look forward to. Who knows what else they might announce before we see the crossover, but it's enough already to have me, and I know a bunch of other DC TV fans, super excited. So we just got to hope that it doesn't get too big for what they can handle, and it all delivers for a really cool crisis story. So yeah, but it all is sounding and looking very, very cool. I can't wait to see it.
So was Tom Welling ever in the Superman outfit in?
Nope, it was all
Smallville?
It was all CG. The only time he was actually had it on is the very last shot where he rips his suit and you see the Superman logo. So maybe he just wore the shirt portion of it, but that's about it. The rest of it was just a CG version of the horrible Superman Returns costume.
Oh, I see. So this is the first actual time that anybody will see Tom Welling in that outfit.
Well, we might not, because, like I said, they only describe him as returning as Clark Kent, not as Superman. So maybe they won't. He might just have his trademark red jacket and blue shirt again, just hanging out on the farm. But yeah, it's just cool that they got him back, just to see him again in that role. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for our main news items. And one thing I want to mention too, Dane, and I got to give you props. You remember when I was so bummed and disappointed about Spider-Man not being part of the MCU anymore? What did you tell me?
Said just wait, Tim. Just wait. They're gonna get it together.
And look what happened.
And who was right? Who was right, Tim?
I should have listened to you, or had more faith in you, because I wasn't pretty optimistic about it. So the fact that you did, got to give you props, and I should say thank you, because maybe it was your optimism that made it happen.
No, I think it was what's his name?
Tom Holland. Yeah.
Tom Holland that did that.
Which is just cool in itself. The fact, because Bob Iger was on Jimmy Kimmel this past week.
Yeah.
And he asked him about it, just wondering, because the Hollywood Reporter had an article that came out that Tom Holland kind of got this started again, and then Jimmy Kimmel asked him about that, and Bob Iger confirmed that, yeah, it was after D23 that after the reaction they saw from the fans and Tom Holland saw about that, and just how much he cared, he took it upon himself to call Bob Iger and just really say how important this is to him and the fans to get this done. And that spurred Bob Iger to talk with his people in Disney and then to call the Sony reps again and to get this done. So it was pretty much Tom Holland doing that. So he he did what Spider-Man would do. He looked out for all the fans and got this done. So just I wasn't expecting it to happen again, but man, that made my day when I heard it. So should have more faith in what you were saying, Dane, because you ended up being right. But I'm glad you were.
Yeah, you see, you just listen to Dane next time, because I mean, come on, it's pretty obvious that they work better together, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't looking good though.
Really?
Right?
It wasn't looking good?
Yeah, they were saying some things. Sony was, and how it was like, I don't see them getting back anytime soon. So that's why I got more bummed as it went on. But that's why I was so shocked when this happened. But
so what would they have done if an agreement that didn't get agreed upon?
Sony would just put Spider-Man in their movies. And I think that still might be the case, actually, which, hey, if it just means there might be some things where don't make sense, where he's in a Venom movie and still in the MCU, I'll take it. I just want him still in the MCU and to resolve the cliffhanger ending from Spider-Man Far From Home. That was my biggest thing. Even if we just got one more, we're getting one more movie and he's going to show up in another Marvel movie. But even if we just got one more Spider-Man movie made by Marvel Studios where they just wrapped up his trilogy and his story, that's all I wanted, just to have it end on a good note, not where they had this massive cliffhanger and we're not going to get the movie finished by the studio that started it. So, but I can rest easy now. That's going to happen. So July 2021, I think, is when the next one's coming out, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and Far From Home, I've never heard of a school trip going to multiple European countries.
They did have to take some unexpected detours on this trip, so I don't think it was all planned where they're traveling to those different spots.
I see.
I just got it on Blu-ray, and I haven't watched it yet. Plan on watching it tonight, but I am looking forward to seeing it again.
So where are they going in the next movie on the school trip?
Yeah, good question.
Graduation party?
I don't know if Peter Parker is going to be going with him because everyone knows he's Spider-Man now. So he might be taking a solo trip. Heck, maybe he might have to go back in space just to get away from everything.
He only goes on trips in movies. The rest of the time he's not on a trip, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was we can end the episode on a positive note, knowing that Spider-Man is back in the MCU.
See, I told you, Tim.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, no comic book reviews on this one. I've just been still super busy. Haven't had a chance to read most of the books. Here's how busy I am, Dane. The last issue of Batman TMNT is out, and I haven't read it yet. I haven't even gotten it yet. So,
wow,
that should show you right there how crazy the last few weeks have been. But I plan to catch up hopefully by our next episode, and I at least got to give a review of that, and because it's the last TMNT story by James Tynion, the final of the trilogy. So, reviewed all of them. I cannot not review the last issue of this arc. So, just got to wait a little bit.
I wonder, when Rise of Skywalker comes out, I wonder if you're gonna be busy for that, and it's gonna be like, oh, I still haven't seen it.
Oh, heck no, man. There's certain things you got to put priorities over, and Star Wars is the main one. So I don't care what's going on. I will be seeing that movie Thursday night.
Okay, so what if a work thing comes up and you can't leave on that night?
It would just have to be a later showing, because there's no way the job would be working later past like 5:30 or 6 the latest. So
what if the only theater showing it is 4 hours away and you get off at 6 o'clock?
You and your scenarios that would not possibly happen with all the movie theaters around this area. No way. But if that was the case, I'd make that drive.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was truly after. It's like, how much of a Star Wars fan are you, Tim?
There's no distance too far to see the movie.
So what if you had to fly to another state to see it?
I'd have to book my plane ticket.
like no theater in California will show you, or the surrounding states.
Oh man.
Only on the East Coast, Tim. Only in Maine.
Pretty soon you're gonna say not in the country, and then not on the planet. I'm gonna have to go to the moon to watch it. But no matter where or when, I will be seeing that movie on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, Tim.
Yes. And you'll be hearing a lot about it from me, that's for sure.
I just hope you don't have that same reaction as you did for The Last Jedi.
Yeah, where I didn't know what to think that next Friday, which was a feeling I never had with a Star Wars movie.
Right.
Which got better every time I saw it and talked about it. So it was just weird that Friday, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode, a Joker-filled theme episode, but still a fun discussion on it nonetheless, but minus comic book reviews, but we'll get to those next time. But with that, one thing I want to say too, just want to offer congratulations to our buddies Rob and Terrence over at Rob and Everyone Loves a Drake that celebrated their 100th episode. So big congrats, guys. It was a cool episode where obviously we had some great moments with Rob and Terrence being on our early episodes and having them being part of the crew, and then just them branching out, starting their own podcast and having it be successful as it is really great. And episode 100 was a good time too. They haven't heard it in a long time, but they played their first appearances on Bat Fans, and boy, our audio was horrible back then.
Really?
Yeah. If you go back to those early episodes, our enthusiasm maybe wasn't as high as it is right now. You know, those early episodes where it's like, hey guys, how are you doing? Now here is Tim and Terrence and Rob.
Wow.
Or here is Dane. How you doing, Dane? So, and then you got the audio quality not being the greatest. So we definitely stepped up since those early episodes back in 2012 and 13. So, but it was fun to hear, and just, congrats to you guys on 100 episodes. And we got to get together soon and podcast some more, because it has been a while.
Well, I guess with that being said, I'm never listening to that 100th episode. I mean, I'm sorry.
You don't want to hear how bad the audio sounded, Dane?
No. Or let's just blame it on technology.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, well, I'll listen to it.
Remember, Dane, you got an internet upgrade, like a few years into the podcast, so that was a big reason why your audio didn't sound that great.
Yeah. Right. I forgot. Yeah.
So that'll be better for you. Blame it on the internet.
I'll blame it on technology.
Yes.
Does Rob still do his toy YouTube show?
I don't think not as much, but I believe it's still up there. He still does it from time to time.
I used to watch it every once in a while. I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, I know the podcast keeps him busy because he does a lot of editing with that, but it makes for a good show though. I love how dedicated Rob is to the production value of the podcast. Definitely more so than when I show on our episodes where I just slap on the intro and outro. That's it. But so props to you on that, Rob. It makes for a great listening experience.
Yes, and like Tim said, congratulations on 100 episodes. It really isn't easy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
To do 10 episodes, let alone 100. So congratulations.
A lot of podcasts comes and goes, but it's the dedicated ones that make it this long. So yeah. Congrats, guys. But with that, that's going to do it for our episode number 186. We're getting close to 200. Another milestone, which is hard to believe. But as always, I'll throw it to you, Dane, for the outro.
All right, go over. Sorry. Go over to thebatmanuniverse.net, facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handles at BatmanUniverse, the show's Twitter handles at BatFans Podcast, Tim's Twitter handles at TimG311, and you know what? I'll say TimG311 because I heard a 311 song that I really liked.
Oh wow! Give it to me. Which one is it?
I have no idea.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
The song you really like, you got to find out the name of it.
Yeah, I heard it on the radio while I was driving, and it said, "Oh, that was by 311." I was like, "Oh wow, that was a 311 song."
You don't remember any bit of lyrics that stood out in the chorus that you remembered, or?
I'm just trying to think.
A melody, something.
It starts off as a reggae. This won't help at all, Tim. But it starts off as like a reggae song. Then it gets faster and faster and faster, and then it turns into a punk song.
Mostly they have a few like that. So.
I'm assuming that it's a more recent song.
Does Don't Tread on Me ring a bell?
Okay, I'm just gonna write that down and
Because that has a reggae feel to it. It does get hard and faster at one point, though it doesn't get faster and faster and faster. But at some point, it does get a little heavier and faster. But it's mainly a reggae song.
yeah, it's like mainly a reggae song, but like only the last portion is like a punk song.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it is Don't Tread on Me.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. I've written that down, and I'm gonna listen to it. I'll text you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even if that's not it, try to find out because I gotta know what 311
Yeah.
sounds like now.
Where was I? Oh, in my Twitter handle is at Dane Says Banana. Rating reviews on iTunes, and if you want to email the show at badfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, like we say at the end of every single episode today,
We love each and every one of you with all of our Joker origin story hearts, no matter which ones are true or false.
I was wondering what you were gonna say. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody.